Alright, it is the pour day. Everything is taped up, everything is looking good. We just set our screed pins this morning. We are watering down the whole front yard and everywhere we're going to be placing concrete, just to make sure that the concrete doesn't go too off on us and the dirt just gets a little more compacted in the morning. So, we're pretty much all set up. We just gotta wait for the concrete now. All the guys are here waiting in their cars. Only guy I'm waiting on is my pumper, Leo. Other than that, everything's looking money. Screed's looking money. And I'm excited to get this pour out and done with. Here's a quick look of the whole job before we pour it out. Once you see it again, all these squares are gonna have beautiful concrete. We ran out of tape right at the end, but we'll sponge it real quick if it gets any concrete on it. Alright, what's going on, everybody? This is Tim Odell with Odell Complete Landscape. Today is the pour day, and I'm just going to be showing you guys how we get it on. So you can see as we're pouring out the concrete, we're lifting the rebar up, and we're starting at the very far side with the RV driveway. We also are trying to stuff the concrete below all the pressure treated wood so that it gives it extra strength and support for the heavy vehicles that will be driving on these parts of the driveway and RV driveway. So I had 3 finishers with me today helping me finish out the job. I wanted to make sure I can get a lot of nice footage for you to really enjoy the concrete pour on such a beautiful job like this. Also, guys, if you haven't seen the first couple parts to the series, I highly recommend you go back and check those out to see how we got to this point in the series of pouring out this whole concrete patio and driveway and RV driveway. The guy in the orange long sleeve, that is actually my uncle. My uncle came out to help me finish the concrete. My Uncle Darren. Most of my family is in construction or the concrete business. I am actually 3rd generation, and if you guys know me, I'm sure you guys know my dad. He is the head of Odell Complete Concrete. He's the one that got me into the whole trade. Now we're using a 3-foot bowl float, wooden bowl float for this job, and what I like about the wooden bowl floats is that when you are starting your bowl floating, is it really drags the cream to the top and moves the concrete in place and exposes any low spots that you may have on your concrete. It's always nicer to have bigger bowl floats as well, because when you have a bigger bowl float, it'll hit more area at once and keep everything more flat and level with each other. What's also nice about the pressure treated wood was that we were able to stand and walk on them to help us finish the concrete that day.
Rotting, huh?
Now here is the walkway, and that's actually my uncle on the rod board now. He's in a orange long sleeve. You can see the rebar running underneath all the pressure treated joints so that all the slabs stay connected. Then we had one main guy just going around bowl floating all the areas as two guys were still rotting out. You can see us lifting up all the rebar as we move back, since we didn't have our rebar in dobies or chairs, whatever you may call them. We set up a screed pin on the driveway because it was a pretty large area, and we wanted to make sure that we had something to rot our concrete off of to make sure we were getting perfect levels. The screed pins were set to the crown point and somewhere in the middle of the driveway, but level with the sides of the forms. So what the guy is going to do as he's rotting back on the left side is he's going to make sure that his top of his 2x4 is flush with the top of the 2x4 that is our screeding board. If he does that, then he's rotting to perfection. And then the other guy's just going off of the pressure treated wood on the outside of the driveway. We also put the screed pins up because that is a crowning point as well. And that would be really hard to freehand rod without the screed pins up. You can see the crown because the 2x4 is sticking up above that concrete. So we ran out of concrete right here, so we're waiting for the next truck to get set up, and then we'll pour the rest out. One mistake I did do on this job was I ordered a little too much concrete. So you always want to double check your measurements when you're ordering concrete, because every yard you order extra is about $150 or $120, $120 to $150 that you'll be spending. More is better, but I ordered a little too much more. So once you have one side of the driveway all set up, you don't need your screed pins anymore because you can just go off of the perfectly leveled side you already rotted to the right height. And that's what they did. They just went off of the other side. Now you can see we're starting to rod everything. We're starting to edge everything. And what was really cool about this tool that this guy was using, well, it's actually my uncle. My uncle's using this tool now. It's a Fresno, but also an edger at the same time. So it's sealing up the concrete and getting a nice edge in at the same time. And it's covering a good amount of distance. Pretty cool tool. Pretty much finishing that whole walkway area with just that tool. Getting two things done at the same time. Now we have string lines right now to snap joint lines. That is the easiest way to get your joints perfectly straight. And then we use a 6-foot cutter, as you can see in the background. The guy is doing a cut edge on the crown point at the very top of the driveway, corner to corner, and then in the middle of the driveway across, and then we'll do one straight down the middle. We're just measuring out, making sure that we will be perfectly centered. And then we'll cut it. Once we cut our joint, we're going to come back with the joining tool and just cleaning those joints up. Now here is the joiner we're going to be using. It's a 3/4 inch diameter. I believe it's called an Arizona joiner. I like the 3/4 inch diameter joints because it's honestly easier to get your joints perfect with those. If you use like a 1/2 inch diameter, makes it a little bit harder to get those joints perfect, just because they're smaller. And if you miss a little bit on your joint, you start to peel some of the concrete from the edges, and your joint will start to look crooked or bad. 3/4 inch diameter gives you a little more play and wiggle room, so you don't have to be perfect at joining. So it was a pretty hot day, so the concrete was going off fairly well. I think it was like 80 degrees out, not insanely hot, but a good temperature for the concrete to be curing at a medium pace, I would say. Now we got one of the guys out here using a funny trowel, hitting all of the driveway and a driveway addition, making it that much easier without having to get out there early. Here's some close-ups on the action. Now here I am on the other side of the whole front yard, finishing the RV driveway side. We're getting close to the broom finish. Probably one more pass over all the slabs and we'll be able to broom this.
You needed to take 2 of those. Huh?
Working through it.
You need to
I feel like I got your migraine.
You need to have more. I took 4 of those and that helped. You need to take more.
I think we're gonna be done within like probably an hour. So let's see. As soon as we're done, we go home, take a nap.
That's what makes it go viral.
Alright, so here we are starting the broom finish. This was a nylon broom. These are really nice for a when the concrete's a little stiffer, it'll get a more of a little grab to it. Also, when we are brooming the concrete, we don't want to go past that joint line because you could smear cream into the joint and it just doesn't look so good when you do it like that. So that's why you can see, that's actually my uncle. That's why you can see him not going past that joint line as he brooms.
Don't make it look too easy.
Another reason for not doing that is when you do start to broom it on the other side, you don't want two broom marks overlapping each other. It's a little noticeable, but those are just the small details. The small details that matter. So this broom finish came out really nice. It was a nice medium / easy broom. You can kind of always tell when you broom something a little too soon because there will be balls of concrete kind of dragged up on top of the cement. Right here, the guy broomed a little too early, so I had to retrowel it out right there. And we had to wait probably like another 10 minutes before we could hit it with the broom.
So we just wrapped up the job. Everything's taped off. We don't want anyone walking on the fresh concrete. The job's looking amazing. We did get too much concrete. We did actually, on our last job, we were 1 yard short. So this time, I got a little scared. I didn't want to have another cleanup fee. So I got too many yards extra this time. So it was pretty much like a cleanup fee again. So when you're doing your measurements, make sure you're doing your measurements twice so you're on the money, because it's costly if you're off. But let me show you what we have. Make sure to get another shot for you guys once we come back and really clean up and take off all this tape. It is the next day after the pour, and right now what we're doing is we are taking all the tape off of these railroad ties or pressure treated wood. Everything came out really great. We're really happy with how it looks, and getting this tape off is kind of annoying, but it was worth it because look how dirty this tape got. And this was everywhere. Terrible. It would have been really hard to sponge this while we were trying to finish this. And yesterday the concrete was just going off. It was really hot yesterday. Well, it wasn't really hot, but everything was in full direct sun. You can see when we're trying to take these off, I'm trying to go as slow as possible because that little corner piece gets stuck. We'll probably have to go back and get all these little inside corners, but overall tape's coming off not that bad. It's better than having to sponge everything the day of the pour, right Sam?
Oh yeah.
All right, end of the day. I believe this is day 8. We didn't get done as much as I wanted to get done today, but that was mainly because the tape that we put on was a little stuck and we had to take a little bit of extra time really getting our hands and knees and scraping that tape off. If you guys have a better idea for protecting any like I don't know, wood when you're pouring out concrete, like maybe ram board. We were thinking ram board, but if you guys have any suggestions, leave them down in the comment section. Let me know and my guys, so we can be better prepared for next time, because it took a little bit of time getting the tape off. But let me show you guys the final product and what we got.
So that is it for this video. Hope you guys really enjoyed the concrete pour. If you guys have any questions, comments, don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Also, if you guys enjoyed everything so far, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, help support the channel. It really helps me and motivates me to keep posting and growing. But other than that, stay tuned for the final part. The final part will be the artificial turf, and that is what's really gonna just tie everything all together. Oh, and then we also got to do the planter bed, of course. So once everything's in place, it's gonna just really be popping. Let me know what you guys think about this concrete pour and how it turned out. But other than that, have a great day, guys.
Man, this is good, huh?
Oh shit, oh shit. And